Welcome to the podcast, So Cast It. I'm your host, Tara Lockett. On today, we are kicking off our first episode of season 2, which is called Unconscious Uncovered: The Marks of Mental Slavery. But before I get into that topic, I want to remind you that the month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I also want to remind you that the website is currently down and it'll be back up soon. We'll go ahead and get into what I like to share, wisdom dots. Most people call it quotes, but I want to share words of wisdom from Lockett. He left us with some beautiful words of wisdom, and I think these words will help us grow along that pathway of becoming whole and breaking free. Now, I want to remind you, the mission is to heal our minds, free our hearts, and activate the change. How do we do that? Well, Lockett is a 5th century BC ancient Chinese philosopher, and he gives us words of wisdom as such. Care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner. Now, I can confirm that you will always be their prisoner if you care about what other people think. I grew up most of my life caring about what other people thought about me because of my insecurities and because of the things that were stuck in regards to the marks of mental slavery, which I'll be sharing with you today. But again, I remind you of the wisdom words of Lockett. Care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner. Now, I must say, you weren't born to be someone's prisoner. You were born to break free. You were born to have a healed mind and a free heart, and you were also born to activate that change. We as humans are built to evolve. So remember, do not be someone else's prisoner. Don't care about what they think about you. Know how you feel about you. Let's go ahead and get into the topic of today, which is unconscious uncovered: the marks of mental slavery. Before I do, I want to ask you a question. And in asking you this question, I'm going to share my answer with you so that you'll know that I have taken the time and put in that work to progress and grow and learn. And my percent was 95 when I first started. As of today, my percent is 5. So I ask you this question: what percentage of self-hate do you carry? Think about that. What percentage of self-hate do you carry? Okay. When I was faced with fear, I possessed a lot of hate. Most of our lives we go through, we don't stop, look, and listen to our hearts and our minds. Considering what I've been through, most of my hate was internal. One, I was angry. Why was I angry? Because I felt helpless and I felt hopeless. 2, I operated in a high level of fear. And if you've listened to the first episode in season 1, 32 Years of Fear, the kryptonite to courage, then you'll see why I was such, endowed with fear. But fear, why was I in such fear? As I grew up, I was constantly tormented by the known weaknesses. It's in our minds. The known we know our weaknesses, right? And so I operated in that aspect of fear. But we don't have to operate in that aspect of fear. We can operate in power and of love and of sound mind, but we don't have to operate in fear. And then the third thing I want to share with you: the truth. The truth hit me, and that truth was, start with yourself. A lot of people go on in life and they say, get over it. I know you've heard that term. I had the opportunity to talk with my brother who was locked up and incarcerated, and one of the words that he said is that's like a big no-no to people who are dealing with mental health issues. People who haven't experienced or walked in our shoes of trauma and things of that nature, it's quick and easy for them to say get over it because that kind of, gets them off the hook of helping. And the truth is, we have to help ourselves. One, by facing the mirror. And I know it's a difficult challenge. It was for me at first, but not any longer. I love looking in the mirror, smiling, and encouraging myself. But we have to start by looking in the mirror. And I learned that for most people, looking in the mirror, it is a very big challenge for them. But we have to. We have to face it. You know why? Because it is better than living our lives in a way that others think we should live and believe we should live. Remember the quote. Think, care about what others think about you, and you will always be their prisoner. Embracing every negative action, behavior, and thoughts. Okay? We have to embrace those things. Not in a way of saying, this is just who I am, accept it, but embrace it in a way that you're squeezing it so tight that you're getting rid of that negative action, that negative behavior, that negative thought. How are you going to get rid of that? I'm glad that you asked. You're going to get rid of it by taking that walk of self-accountability. Yeah, self-accountability. And then after taking that, because remember, we're activating, right? We're activating. So in that activation, we're taking a self-accountability walk. After taking a self-accountability walk, we get to operate every day. We take that chance to evolve every day. Every day, because why? It's a life journey. We don't just, okay, good, I'm good now. No, it's a life journey. It's an everyday evolvement. And so since we're evolving every single day, we have to understand one thing, okay? We have to understand that we are attracted without warning because we haven't corrected that seed. Now, there was a seed deposited in our lives as we were born, and all the way up until our adulthood, there were things deposited into our life. And it's kind of like an unlearned thing that we have to unlearn the learn, basically, and reparent ourselves, right? We have to take that self accountability of reparenting ourselves. Now, I must admit, when I heard those words, and it came from my therapist when he shared the information that I'm going to share with you, there are 8 questions that I'm going to share with you today in regards to this topic. Unconscious uncovered, breaking free and becoming whole, freeing and healing our minds and our hearts, and then activating that change. How do we do that? We do it by identifying the marks of mental slavery. Everything that we're doing, we feel that when we push things aside and put them on back burners, that's just it, and not realizing that that seed is festering and growing. And then it's attaching to all kinds of traits, to the trauma, and all the things that come with that. Now, what seed am I referring to? What are we unconsciously uncovering? I'm glad you asked as well. We are uncovering the seed of check your daddy. That's what it's called. That's what I want to call it, is check your daddy. Okay? We have a lot of unhealed things due to the relationship that we have with our father. Now, our fathers are the first example for us. And if that young man is not present, then there's problems for everyone. However, we are unconsciously uncovering the marks of mental slavery. There are a few things I want to bring to your attention that our fathers went through, that we went through as well, that we're going through as well. It's that moment when you're trying to figure out what exactly is wrong with me and why. There are 3 things that our fathers went through and still go through if they're still alive. Those 3 things are emotions, weaknesses, perception. They did not take the time to heal their trauma. They did not take the time to understand what their self-value was, and they did not take the time to understand that they are capable of doing any and everything that they put their minds to do. Well, I'm going to share a few things with you. The marks of mental slavery: unlearn and reparent yourself. A learned behavior can be changed. Just know that. And I say that with confidence only because I was a learned behavior. You know, according to that quote again, I was other people's prisoner because I cared about what they thought, because I was activating in that cycle in my insecurities, in my abandonment, and all those things. And so with those weaknesses, I cared about what people thought, and then I became their prisoner. When you become someone's prisoner, you do what you're told. You act in those ways. And so that's how I was stuck. And I don't want you to be stuck. I want you to be free. And we're becoming free, and we're breaking whole, and we're breaking these cycles because that's what we need to do to be strong mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. We have to do that because we have another generation that is actually looking at us, and is important for us to show them that we can and we will. Let's get into this. The marks of mental slavery looks like this: not feeling a part of life, unsure how to find yourself or to genuinely love yourself. You have negative energy of control, like that goes with levels to, of marks. Those levels grow. You want to have control over people. Again, it's care about what people think and you'll be their prisoner. Someone wants you to care about what they think so that they can control you. That control comes with mental, physical, and emotional, as well as spiritual abuse. The lack of boundaries gives a falsehood from what we see and assume this is what love looks like. Being completely disconnected, we can find this trait from sexual abuse. So if you've experienced it, as I have, you understand that that's where that comes from, trying to please other people. You're stuck in a cycle, and then you become other people's prisoner, and you don't want that. We want to uncover these unconscious things that's going on with us. They're traits that attach themselves to the trauma. Not valuing your full purpose. You are mentally stuck with searching for validation, and that's related to the attachments of abandonment, right? You're unsure of the motive of those around you. It's that me against the world attitude and thoughts that everyone is out to get you. Now, that is a hypervigilance, and it is mental, because your mind is telling you that. You have a known weakness, and your mind is telling you. So that's why I'm sharing that, because I had a known weakness in my head, listening to voices that really wasn't telling the truth. It was just those attachments to the traumas. You don't have the ability to connect with social groups. You have a lack of confidence. Having the no matter what mentality. This mentality affects everyone. So there's no way that we can say that we care about one another if we have that kind of mentality. We're not trying to get over, I want to get over on you to get to the top so I can look down at you, not say thank you, but just walk all over you. And we have to disperse of that type of mentality. These are the marks of mental slavery. Remember, our fathers did not heal their trauma. They had unresolved issues that they did not fix, which their actions and their thoughts and their ways were results of it. Now, I learned how to process this kind of mental blockage, because it's mental blockage, which is why I like to use that word mental constipation. They're mental blockage. By reflecting on my father and the role he played in my life and allowing myself to be broken. Back to the truth. What did I say earlier? It was that truth, right? The truth is what? You're taking your action, your behavior, and your thoughts, and you're doing something about it. Now I'm going to read something according to at the holistics.psychologist. They say, as adults, a conflicted relationship with a father becomes an unconscious focus. We find partners like him. We seek approval in others the way we did for him. We betray ourselves for any attempt of connecting with him. Now, I want to stop right there because I do know this to be true. How do I know? When my father was on his deathbed, he requested my presence. I did not go. And I must say, I did not have a regret, because I'll share with you when my mom passed away and I got a phone call from him. And he said the words, "Baby girl, I'm all you got." I'll never forget those words because those were words from a man that was my father. I began to share things with him and said, "Hey, let me come see you." In other words, I'll make the effort to come and see you. You don't have to worry about it because I care that much about our relationship. And as we scheduled those appointments to see one another, that didn't happen. And as a result, it was just another broken promise that I refuse to be caught up in. Here's where you come in. You're in the stage of reparenting yourself now. The butterfly effect. Your transformation begins. You must explore what you saw, what you heard, what you felt from your father. This is an exceedingly complicated process, but very necessary. We must shed our past and see a brighter future. And as I was told in counseling, I must reparent myself. How do I do that? There are 8 questions that I want to share with you that was given to me. Now, I did not generate these questions. Again, I want to give a shout out to the holistics at the the holistic psychologist. She asked 8 questions. What messages about myself did my father give me as a child? If my father was absent, what narratives were told around this, and how did it make me feel? What qualities do I look for in my partners, and what qualities do I want to avoid? How did my father respond to my emotions, to his own emotions? What beliefs about the world did he leave with me? What did he have? What messages did he share with me about sex, love, and relationships, both directly and indirectly through modeling? So whether you're around fathers or not, you're setting an example, a thought. You're planting a seed in your child's life to have to come back and answer these questions. How did he cope with stress, and what overwhelmed him? What did he feel ashamed around, and how did that shame impact you? It's important that you take your time answering these questions, because these questions will definitely help you break free and become whole. I want to thank you for watching and listening. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. But most important, share this episode. This episode is very important to the process of healing. Together, we can help break free those mental chains, and we can, heal our minds, free our hearts, and activate change. Why do we need to do that? We need to do it because we need to break the cycle. We need to heal, conquer, rise, grow, give, help. I'm at the level of help. After we help, we get the opportunity to live free. And in living free, you must forgive your father. And so check your daddy. Check your daddy. Answer these questions. Break free, break whole, heal your mind, free your heart, and activate change. Because your mind matters and is the vision of our future.